Wait, I need to fix my hair real quick because that is just ridiculous. Okay. Still not fixed. I'm gonna have to live with it. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I had to DNF Eve of Man. I feel so bad about it because in theory, this book could have been a 5-star. Eve of Man plays in a world where no women are born anymore, and Eve is the last woman that miraculously was born. She is sheltered in a dome and pretty much prepared to repopulate the earth. She then is going into a conflict because she meets this boy, and well, boy meets girl, etc. And now she's in conflict between, hey, am I going to repopulate the earth and do what I was supposed to be fulfilling to do, or will I follow my heart and go with the one that I love? So, anyways, I thought, first of all, this cover is gorgeous because it's gold. So it must be good, right? No, but seriously, I thought this is a really interesting setting. I do enjoy a good dystopian novel because I enjoy the thought process where we are thinking about what could happen to a society, how will society change if something specific happens to it. Similar to what we're seeing right now in the world happening, where a virus is changing dynamics in the society, and we have different kinds of people doing different kinds of things, and how economics change, etc., etc., etc. That's pretty much what I love most about a good dystopian novel. The speculative fictional part about what could happen to interacting human dynamics, what happens to economy, what happens to science, and where does the money go, etc. So I had high hopes for this one, and I thought that this idea it just has so much potential. Just imagine a world with just boys and men, and then in over 50 years she was the first to be born, so all the other women are like between 60 and 80, I think. So we have a full generation of, if not even 2 generations of men who have to live without women. We have a generation, we have a world where the society is like, okay, we have this one woman, we have this one girl who was born 16 years ago, and no other woman, no young woman in the world. All our hope is on this one. But also, I feel like there's so much to explore with science. What do scientists do? What ideas would they come up with? Do we have different kinds of scientific ideas where this group goes this way and this group goes that way? People fighting about what's right to do, people fighting about what to do with Eve. We have economy dynamics that would be influenced. We would have things about like sexuality and how to live your sexuality. Homosexuality would be a topic, I believe, and just so many potential layers that could go on. And none of it was explored really. And that was really annoying at first, that none of it was explored, but it was like, okay, this is YA and we might build upon this world later on, etc. She might not know everything, and that's fine. And I was fully ready that the relationship and the love interest is going to be very tropey and very cliche. I was ready for that, and I was willing to read through that with an amazingly rich world and ideas that would have been totally fine with me. What I got stuck on was not exploring the possibilities of this world and the implications that it would have on a society with only men. Even some ideas where I was like, that's weird. It's, for example, in this world, they stopped producing makeup because no more women. What about men? Wouldn't it be logical for the makeup industry potentially to change and maybe be more geared towards something else? Maybe, I don't know, but you cannot tell me that if we don't have women anymore, suddenly there's no men who want to wear makeup anymore either. Like, that's so narrow-minded thinking, and I feel like a dystopian that is exploring a speculative idea cannot be narrow-minded like that. And, well, then the other thing that happened was that our Eve is meeting 3 potential mates that are going to repopulate the earth with her. And the author is jumping, or the authors are jumping between... When I started reading this, I was fully aware that Eve's sole purpose in this society is to repopulate Earth. She's gonna be pregnant nonstop, right? She's going to... And there's other scientific ways of doing this. Harvesting the eggs, having a lot of different sperm donors to get genetic diversity. But this was jumping in between finding her one permanent mate and then also focusing on things like what this person's beliefs are and what this person's moralities are and what this person is behaving like. And then there's discussions around she needing this mate, and then, hey, we have an idea. Let's switch this to being completely scientific. We have, at one point, she's starting to think about, hey, I was always prepared to meet my potentials, but I haven't thought about actually being with a child. I was like, wait, you've been prepared for this role, being a birthing machine, for 16 years. And you are not aware of what's happening after you're meeting your potential mate? It just didn't make sense. And then I was jumping between, hey, I was prepared for a relationship, I was preparing to be with a mate, and between, hey, I want the romantic part. And there's just so many inconsistencies with how this would work and how also the love interest would think, how they're interacting, and where I'm like, well, if you have been living in this world for 16 years, it is not logical for you to have this thought process now. It's not logical for you to be at the place where you're at right now. So whereas I can look over a very tropey relationship and even insta-love, whereas I don't think we have insta-love in here, we have weirdly extreme, you're the one for me love. Oh, by the way, can I just say, our main character is sheltered from men because men can't restrict themselves, right? And it would be dangerous for her to be around men. But they give her a hologram type of companion who is a female figure. And they have boys in a suit, moving and speaking and everything, being this holographic mate. And our love interest is one of them. That becomes very clear. I don't think that's a spoiler. If you think it's a spoiler, I'm sorry. Our main character figures out who her mate, who out of the several people. First off, she figures out how many different types of people are behind her fictive holographic companion. And she is able to tell who is who. Which I find very hard to believe. Even if you're madly falling in love with one of them, I find it very hard to believe if nobody tells you that actually there's people behind it, that that there's different people behind it, how many people are behind it, that you are able to correctly assume the answer. Even if you have some hints toward it, I do find it very, very highly unlikely that without any type of confirmation that you're able to guess all that. Because you will be in a constant state of, but do I actually know it? No, you don't. And there's just so many small things that added up like this, where I felt like it was just wrong and not logical. I had so many hopes after a couple of things where I was like, oh, that's not logical, that it was still building. And then we have big revelations and things are going to be different. And then a few of these revelations came up and I was like, but that is contradicting what just happened 10 pages before. And it's not that just our main character wasn't exposed to it, it's contradicting the logic. And it was just getting worse and worse and worse. So I do understand if somebody can look past these logical flaws, that you could enjoy it. I could not. Goodbye, Eve of Man. I had high hopes, and you have fully disappointed me. If somebody knows a novel that has a similar idea that has a similar idea with like one woman being left and only men, and how society might have changed through that, and please let me know. I would love to read a good book that does this well and explores this society implications and what would happen. So hit me up. I want to read a good one.
Just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would?